Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. We have a really good show for you lined up here on Primetime Local News tonight. We're talking New Year's resolutions because I'm officially on Operation Holiday Bod. All I've consumed is cookies since Thursday. So want to know, have you ever stuck to a New Year's resolution? Because I'm thinking mine is going to have to be cutting out sugar. I don't know if I could stick to it. So have you ever been successful?
I just don't even do resolutions because I just know I will never keep them. So I just don't.
So if you don't make them, you can't break them.
Exactly.
There you go. All right, we'll get into this conversation in just a little bit. But first, we're going to go check in with our Josh Ryan, who's in Bonnyville, taking in some exciting hockey action.
Thanks very much. It's hard to hear right now as they're working on the ice before the All-Canada matchup tonight at 7 p.m. West meets East in a pivotal matchup as Canada East fell to Russia last night 5-3, and they definitely need a win to get up in the standings here. Canada West defeating the U.S. 2-1 earlier today. Russia defeating the Czech Republic. We'll have more from Bonnyville on Primetime. For now, let's head back to you guys in the studio.
Great, thank you, Josh. Well, the oil patch has been discussed very heavily recently, and one local man spoke to the Rotary Club today about some of the steps in which can be taken to best benefit the oil industry and our region. Our Brett Holden has the story.
Daryl Howell, a former engineer and former candidate for the UCP nomination, spoke to the Rotary Club about the current state of the oil industry and some misconceptions there may be.
Well, I've felt for a number of years that we're not doing enough to promote our oil industry. And at one time I thought, well, maybe it's not that serious. But the last few years have indicated how serious it is. You know, there's so many people out of work because of really bad public relations.
A few possible solutions others have mentioned are wind and solar energy, but Howell says at the moment those are not doable.
Well, there's two problems. One is just enough capacity. I think someone did a calculation on solar power, and there's not enough surface on the earth to generate enough solar power for our needs. The other issue is being able to store the power. Like solar and wind are dependent on the elements, and if the sun's not shining and the wind's either not blowing or blowing too hard, then you're not generating power.
Howell also believes that nuclear energy could have a place in the future as well.
I mean, it's ironic. I think it's really the most environmentally friendly power option that there is. But it's probably had worse public relations than even the oil industry.
Brett Holden, Primetime Local News.
Here Comes Santa is the annual event here in the border city, and in this week's retrospect, I take a look at what's changed and what keeps people coming back.
Before December hits and the Christmas rush begins, Santa made a stop in the border city this morning to check over his list to see who has been nice this past year. With the holidays right around the corner, Here Comes Santa Claus was a great kickoff to the holiday season.
Just really hope that this is a day that everybody enjoys and really gets them in the spirit for Christmas, and more than anything reminds people that family is the most important thing.
Over 600 children showed up to see Santa Claus this morning. Afterwards, many of them headed down to the public library to make some Christmas crafts. Michelle Daychuk grew up in the border city and remembers when annual events were held during the holiday season.
I mean, I know when we started doing the meetings, everyone was saying, we remember when this happened every year. When I was a kid growing up here, we had stuff going on. There was a day for kids to do stuff, and it was like all free, and they got to see a movie, and they got like a little bag of treats, and Santa came for a visit, and it was nice. It was sort of a kickoff to the holiday season.
Hello, everybody!
This year, the interest in the event still stays strong, and in fact, the crowd continues to grow.
Well, this year we tried to make the photos with Santa a little bit nicer, and we received some really positive comments about the background for Santa and the background for the Grinch and for Olaf and for Sven. And we added some entertainment at the carols and cards with the prairie dogs. So every year we've been able to add a little bit here and a little bit there.
Kurt credits the sponsors who help make the event possible each year.
I think that the event gains momentum, and as it gains momentum, we have sponsors that are coming back year after year. We have sponsors that have been with us every year, but we also have some new sponsors like the Gold Course Casino came on board this year. That helped us out as well. So as we get new sponsorships on board, we're able to add different events as well.
Here Comes Santa is an event that the community looks forward to every year, and it will continue as long as the interest is there. And that's it for this week's Retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webbs Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webbs Ford in Vermilion.
Welcome back. The BC government says it has applied for a pesticide use permit to aerial spray a section of residential and municipal parkland in northern Surrey next year in another attempt to wipe out the gypsy moth. The caterpillars feed on tree leaves and can damage forest farms and orchards. The same property has been sprayed from the ground in the last few years, but the government says that hasn't been effective, and taping and monitoring results show that the moth is becoming established. Large gypsy moth populations have defoliated sections of forests and residential areas in Ontario and the eastern United States. Canada's Agriculture Minister has announced a federal investment of $3.7 million for the Eastern Canada Oilseeds Development Alliance to help farm businesses obtain oilseed varieties suited for Atlantic Canada. The announcement was made Friday in PEI, where soybean production roughly tripled from 2008 to 2016. The ministry says that over the next 5 years, the Alliance's research activities will focus on developing better varieties and new crops of camellia, brown mustard, pulses, and canola and hemp. The program includes some 15 Agriculture and Ag-Food Canada University and private sector research organizations and 12 growers in the industry and partners. And that's it for your Ag News. Sports is next, but first we'll take a look at your egg prices.
Every member of the City Centre Autobody team has been through extensive training. We're constantly upgrading our team's education to reflect current collision repair technique.
Taking a look at your local sports now, the Bonnyville C2 Centre is full of hockey minds this week, and we got to catch up with one of them this afternoon.
Welcome to the World Junior A Challenge in Bonnyville, Alberta. I'm Justin Marshall, joined alongside Craig Button, the TSN Director of Scouting. Craig, what's it like being here in Bonnyville, Alberta? Like, what do these small communities mean to junior hockey development?
Well, it means a tremendous amount, and you think about, you know, coast to coast across Canada, and how not only do communities have a hockey team, they support the hockey team, and then they support the young players, you know, trying to achieve their dreams and trying to, you know, realize what their goals are. And, you know, it's so special because it's not just on the ice, it's the entire community, in the homes, people taking young kids into their homes so that they can try to pursue these dreams and goals. The schools and everything that goes with it, and it's part of the fabric of hockey in Canada. And you know, you try to explain it to people that aren't from Canada and haven't really seen it, and it becomes, not that it's difficult to explain, but I think it becomes something that for other people that don't see this on a regular basis every day right across the country, they don't really, they're trying to make sense of what this all means to send young kids away to go pursue their dreams in other provinces, and sometimes thousands of kilometers away from where they grew up.
How do you enjoy being around these young kids? Because they're so energetic. They're not playing for money. They play it for the passion.
I've been really lucky because I've been around young people my whole life, being involved in hockey. So when you're around young people, I mean, these are the next wave of players that are going to make a dent. And we talk about goals and dreams. They're going to achieve them in a lot of cases, and then they're going to realize that, hey, this is something that, you know, I'm going to get paid for. But at the same time, I don't think they ever lose their passion. I think that they love to play, and that's what gets them started, and that's what gets them to a point where they're driven to be the very best. So, but to be around them and to see the excitement they have and the drive they have and the talent and enthusiasm, well, it's infectious, and there's no other way to describe it. It's something that I look forward to all the time, every day. It's not just year to year, because, I mean, this is, you know, we always talk about the future belonging to the youth. The future belongs to the youth.
Awesome.
And getting off to a good start on their current 5-game road schedule was elusive for the Lloydminster Bobcats once again. The Cats had another 3-2 heartbreaking loss, this time in Sherwood Park, and then arguably their worst effort of the season, falling to Fort McMurray Oil Barons 11-2. Coach Nigel Dubé said the focus afterwards was on each individual's game.
Did they do everything they could? Were they prepared? How were they ready? What did they do? And if we have to change those things, they have to find a way, and we'll work with them to find a solution, because it can't happen again.
The Bobcats have 3 days till they head to Calgary to face the Canucks. And the highs and lows of being a sports fan is a perfect description of anyone cheering on the Lloydminster Bandits this weekend. Things got off to a great start with the team's biggest win of the year, a 3-2 victory over Wainwright. However, the Bandits' buzz disappeared quickly on Sunday during a 5-2 loss to St. Paul. A lack of energy and focus had Lloydminster playing from behind all game.
Missing a few key guys, but at the end of the day, you know, no excuses. We just you know, we failed to show up. Basically came out flat, and it carried over for the full 60 minutes.
Clegg says the weekend shows they can win or lose against anyone, and that they have work to do if they want the consistency.
It has been a change for the guys, you know, the way we'd like to play and stuff. So, you know, we'll just keep working on the simple little things.
The Bandits are at home for their final 2 games of 2018, starting with college tonight against the Vermilion Tigers on Thursday. And the PWM Steelers had a solid showing at the Mandy Schwartz tournament in Wilcox. The Steelers went 3-1-1, ending on a 3-0 victory over Swift Current. The Lloydminster AAA Bobcats were less successful on the ice, losing to the Calgary Buffaloes and Airdrie Bisons. And now we're going to send it back to Josh Ryan, who is at Bonnyville.
Thanks very much. I'm joined by Town Councillor for Bonnyville, Elisa Brasso. Thank you very much for joining us, Elisa. I guess just to start with, how excited are you to have this in the city, and how excited is the public to have this in the city?
Well, we're extremely excited to have this in our small little town of Bonnyville here, about 6,400 people. And so for all the young athletes and just the community in general, everybody's very pumped to have this event.
What's the most common thing you've heard from people in terms of feedback? Just being able to see hockey of this high level, or just the attention it's brought to the town? Because you don't often see this many media members, for example, in this area.
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Just being able to attend an event at such a high level is an excitement for a lot of people. And then when you talk to those people, just the attention that we are getting, we see the scouts and all the media broadcasters, and so that excites a lot of people as well.
And I guess along with that prestige, there's also the actual financial benefits, so people in hotels, things like that. Is this kind of one of the maybe busier weeks you'll have for the course, certainly the course of December, I would imagine?
Oh, absolutely. The economic benefits that's going to bring to our local restaurants and our hotels is huge for us throughout this week. Not only for the athletes, and then, as we mentioned, the media and those people affiliated, but also those coming from, we met up with some people who came from Edmonton to watch the event, so bringing outsiders to our community as well.
And then maybe a chance for some young folk to get a look at their future when they suit up to wear the red and white one day. That's it for us. We'll head back to you in studio.
All right, thank you so much, Josh. Starting it off with this very snowy picture from a hill. Thank you for sending that in. Won't be the view for too much longer as we have a warming trend on the way. Currently sitting at -6, feels much cooler than that once you factor in the wind, -1 in Vermilion, and then above the freezing mark as we move out west. Vegreville, 1 degree, Edmonton, 1 degree. They also saw some of that freezing rain earlier today, and areas like St. Paul, Bonnyville, Lac La Biche, and Cold Lake kind of on the cusp of that warning. Hopefully shouldn't see any of that freezing rain action, but it is a possibility. Marwayne sitting at -6, -7 in Pierceland, -9 currently in Meadow Lake. Also in St. Walburg, -11 in North Battleford, one of the cooler numbers on the map there. As we move up north, sitting around those same numbers, so -11 in La Ronge, -13 in Flin Flon, even colder at -15 in South End. Over on the Alberta side, we're seeing some numbers still above the freezing mark, so 2 degrees in Edmonton, -1 in Grand Prairie, -11 in High Level, and then -2 currently in Fort Chipewyan. So quite the contrast as we move across the map up north there. 0 degrees in Medicine Hat, 3 in Lethbridge, -1 in Banff, 4 degrees right now in Calgary, and then 1 degree in Swift Current, also in Moose Jaw. For the numbers tomorrow, we are going to be starting to warm up, and then after tomorrow is when we really see those warm numbers come into play. So -5 for the high here tomorrow, -4 in Maidstone, -4 also in North Battleford. We are going to see a mix of sun and cloud. Those clouds should start to dissipate overnight. -2 tomorrow in Vegreville, -1 for Edmonton, and then as we move up the map, a little bit cooler, but definitely above the seasonal average. So -3 in St. Paul tomorrow, -4 in Bonnyville, -3 for Cold Lake, and a high of -2 in Lac La Biche. For the kids off to school, going to be a bit of a chilly start at -10, warming up to -9, and plenty of sunshine over recess. -7 over lunch hour. We are going to have a mix of sun and clouds starting in the afternoon, and then -5 when they head home. So look at that. We are going to start to see a warming trend, and then it is going to cool back down a little bit there, but no snow in the immediate forecast. -5 tomorrow, -10 for the low, and then we really start to warm up on Wednesday. Averages are -8 and -17 for this time. So Wednesday, we're not even near that. -1 for the daytime high, -9 for the lows. The winds come out of the west-northwest. 0 degrees on Thursday. Very nice temperature there. -11 for the daytime low. And then Friday, getting a little bit cooler, but still above those seasonal averages. -5 on Friday and Saturday. A little bit cooler at -7 on Sunday, and then Monday -3 to wrap it all up.
And now we're going to send it back to Josh Ryan, who is live from Bonnyville.
Thanks very much. I'm joined by Neil Langridge, the host committee co-chair of the World Junior A Challenge here in Bonnyville, as well, of course, as the assistant coach and assistant GM with the Pontiacs. Neil, been an exciting couple of days already, and a pretty good turnout thus far from the community. That's obviously got to be good news for you guys, having put so much work into the tournament. You're seeing the local community, dig in and enjoy it already.
Yeah, it's a tremendous amount of work by, I think it's about 160 volunteers it takes to put this event on. So a big shout out to the community members that, it's second time in, I believe, 2 years since we hosted it in 2016. I wasn't part of it in 2016, but I think it was a little bit easier the second time around when Hockey Canada had approached us to host a tournament of this magnitude, and again, almost, I think, 90% return on the volunteers. So that means, it just speaks volumes to what the community of Bonnyville can come together to really put on here. So last night when it kicked off, 2 great crowds. This afternoon for the 2 o'clock game, we had about 300 or 400 screaming elementary school kids. So it's been a great turnout, and I think 2 days into it, everything's looking really good.
Yeah, and as you said, the continuity from the volunteers obviously helps. Is there anything in particular that you guys wanted to do differently this time or add on to the experience this time? I know you said you weren't specifically involved with the first time, but is there anything Rick and the rest of the group really wanted to be a part of this time around?
Yeah, and I think that's a little bit why they brought me on, is to get some new ideas to make sure that, I guess it wasn't just doing everything the exact same way again, but taking what they thought they could improve on the first time around and trying to and implement those things to make sure that we have an even more successful event for the community of Bonnyville and the Junior A Pontiacs. Number one was we wanted to get the education aspect, so those school kids, they were involved in some programs where they learned about some countries like Russia and the Czech Republic that maybe they wouldn't really learn about in a normal curriculum beforehand. So if you look around the rink and in front of their dressing rooms, some of the aspect they have facts about Russia on the door and welcome to Bonnyville, and some really nice touches, I think, for the visiting teams coming in all the way in from Russia and the Czech Republic and the Americans, of course, and even Eastern Canada. For the young guys, it's a really cool opportunity to see these players that they might never see again, unless it's on TV, when some of these guys will make it to the National Hockey League. So the other aspect was the scouting arrangement, how we the setup we have for the scouts and our VIPs and everything, because the community jumps behind not only the Pontiacs but this organization tremendously, with the not only financial contributions but just the backing of all sorts. So we wanted to make sure we take care of them in every way possible. And I talked to a few NHL scouts last night, and they said it was by far one of the better tournaments that they've been to. And there is a lot of them here. If you come down to the RJ Lalonde, you will see probably about 200 to 300 black coats with some papers in their hands, and that's usually a good sign that that's them in the building. But I think all in all, so far it's been a great turnout for us.
Perfect. Thank you so much again for doing this. Obviously, great reception so far. For now, let's check in what the question of the day is with Michaela and Elise.
All right, well, we've officially entered that part of the year where I know I just indulge in everything. I have been on a strict cookie diet lately, and so I came to realize that I might have to cut this out come the new year, and then I got to thinking of New Year's resolutions. So I wanted to know, have you ever successfully kept up a New Year's resolution? You say you don't even do resolutions.
Yeah, I don't do them because I know I never really keep them. So then I'm just disappointed started the new year, and so I just try to just keep it all even keeled throughout the year and hope for the best.
I think that's how the majority of people are feeling, because 93% of you who answered our poll said no.
Oh, there you go.
93%. So 7% of you said yes. Kevin says, I don't actually make any. That way I never have to worry about breaking them. I don't think I've ever been successful in making them.
Yep.
I make them every year, but I'm a quitter. So.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But at least you try, though. The effort's there, right? So that's better than not even trying.
And I never even start on the 1st. I'm like, I'll start on the 7th. There you go. And then it turns into February 1st. So.
And I'm never starting.
Yeah, pretty much. So let us know if you have been able to keep up with your New Year's resolution. And now let's get to our pets of the day. Look at this. This is Skitters, I believe.
Yep,
Skitters
sure.
and Loki. Very cute. Very cute photo there. That was sent to us by Leah. This is Alaska. Looks like Alaska wants a treat. That was sent to us by Noreen. Very adorable photo there. Next up is Oreo, and Crystal said Oreo thought he hit the jackpot, but then it was a fake bird. Yeah, so sorry, Oreo. That's a very cute photo, though. This is Martini.
Oh, those ears,
Look at those ears. Looks like Martini's had a martini.
Yeah.
That was sent to us by Rhonda. And next up, we have Loki. Look at this, a bird. I don't know if we've had a bird before. Yeah, and that was sent to us by Ashley. If you have a pet you would like to see here on the news, send us a photo. Please include their first name, and if you do see them on the show, you'll be entered to win a gift card to the Lloydminster Pet Pad.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
I'm at the Jubilee Auditorium in Edmonton with the Alberta Ballet getting ready for their production of the Nutcracker 10th anniversary. I'm joined with ballet mistress Christiana Bennett. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I want to talk about, this is the 10th year that the Alberta Ballet has put on this version of the Nutcracker. So what do you think makes the Nutcracker such a staple for families every year?
Oh, it's just one of the most beautiful holiday traditions there is. It's something that everyone can come to the theater, and there'll be something on stage that everyone will enjoy. It's all about the hustle and the bustle of the season, and seeing a wonderful fairy tale and story being portrayed on stage really brings families together, and it brings the community together, and it's just a great way to spend a few hours in the theater on a cold December night.
Definitely. And as a dancer and as well as part of the artistic team, what makes the Nutcracker so special as on that side of the stage, I suppose?
I think the thing that makes the Nutcracker most special would be working with all the children. They have such a light and an energy that they bring into the theater. And as you know, we do about 30 shows, and sometimes it can kind of become very routine. You know, you go to the theater, you do this, you put your makeup on, you put your costume on, and you perform. But every night you have some young dancer who is just absolutely so excited to be there that it just brings you up, and it's just that kind of sense of you remember what it's like to be young and be experiencing a stage craft for the first time.
Definitely, and there are some students from Lloydminster that will be on stage here with the Nutcracker and the Alberta Ballet. For someone who, you know, the students I got to see rehearsal today in class, what would your advice be to someone who eventually wants to become part of the company?
Oh, I would just say keep going, keep trying, wake up every day, work hard. Don't let minor setbacks take you 2 steps back. It's always 4 steps forward. It's just keep going. It's such a wonderful life, and it's just so exciting to be on stage and give back to the audience. And, you know, I'll be in the wings and I'll be their biggest cheerleader, so just keep trying. It'll happen.
Awesome. And as for dancers and the artistic team, how much prep goes into putting on a show like the Nutcracker?
Oh my gosh, it's probably weeks, if not months of preparation. We do Nutcracker every year at the same time of year, so it's kind of always on our radar, but it takes about 180 rehearsal hours to put together this particular production of Nutcracker. And then that doesn't include costume fittings, set design, reverberation of any part of the performance that we need to work on. So it takes us a good solid month of preparation.
And how does casting go about? How do the company dancers, you know, find out their roles for the production?
It's pretty mundane. It just goes up on a board. It's pretty much black and white on a piece of paper. But every year we try and invigorate new roles with new dancers. It's always great to see a new face on stage. We have our tried and true Sugar Plum Fairies and Cavaliers and Claras and Carls, but it's always nice to have a fresh face. This is kind of an important time for the younger dancers because they're getting to find their sea legs almost on stage and try new parts and break out of the box.
Awesome. And for you, from a dancer now to on the artistic team, what do you like most about kind of being on the other side and getting to see it now?
I love being able to watch every single performance from the audience. I also loved dancing in Nutcracker every year, every night, but being on the other side and seeing all this hard work come to fruition is incredibly rewarding.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you so much for sharing your time with us today and letting us be part of your rehearsal as you guys prep for the Nutcracker.
Thank you so much.
Hey, it's Toasty for Real Country 97.7, and here's what's happening in St. Paul and area. The Manawanis Native Friendship Center Society is returning with their annual Christmas dinner this week. They want to invite everyone out to join them on Friday. Get together, have fun, ring in the season together at this dinner. It runs from 6 till 9. And not only that, but Santa is going to be making an early trip to St. Paul this week. On Saturday, you can join him for a skate at the Cap Arena from 11:30 till 1:30. Along with the skate, there's also going to be some hot dogs, hot chocolate, and some Christmas treats to enjoy. To top it all off, the town of St. Paul and the St. Paul RCMP are sponsoring it, making it a free event to attend and spend some time with Santa. You can also catch him on Saturday, spending time in the St. Paul Municipal Library. Starting at 10, you can visit with Santa, and then at 10:30, there will be some Christmas story time to share in the Christmas spirit of the season. That isn't all, though, as they're also going to have some plans for crafts, songs, cookie decorations. If you have a letter for Santa, make sure you bring it with you as well, as you'll be able to deliver your letter to Santa. Make sure he gets it in his hands, so that way he does get you what you want this year. Also happening at the library this month is an adults-only speed friending. It's like speed dating, but you get to leave with more than one person as friends. They're making it a board game night with snacks and drinks included. You can sit down, start playing a game, and when the time goes, you'll switch games and opponents. This happens Friday, December 28th. They ask that you pre-register ahead of time, though, so make sure you call the number below. Tickets are now available for the St. Paul and Community Family Benefit Society's New Year's event, Benefit Dance. The easiest way is to get them at the Cornerstone Co-op Gas Bar. All money raised from it, including the silent auction, goes right back into families within the community. Find these events and more at our website, realcountrystpaul.ca. If you've got something going on, make sure you contact Toasty at realcountry.ca.